Hello.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Nahir Forest Wali and I welcome you all to today's interview session. We have a very special guest with us today, someone who is highly reputable and making significant contribution in the field of climate activism and global organizing. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Iris Zhan. Mr. Iris, thank you for joining us today. We are excited to get to know more about your life journey and the incredible work you have been involved in. Thank you so much. Welcome, Miss Arise. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. So, first of all, please introduce yourself for my viewers.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. My name is Iris. I am 19. I am based in the United States. I am Chinese American, and I have been a climate activist for 5 years. I started when I was 14. I got involved in some local environmental initiatives in my school and my community. And then I decided to start the first youth-led climate group in my county called Sunrise Movement Howard County, which is part of a national um, American youth-led climate movement called the Sunrise Movement. So we are the local chapter of that. And I did a bunch of organizing with the Sunrise Movement to bring in more youth climate leaders in the area to organize for local and national climate action. And then from there, I joined the Fridays for Future movement. And through that, I joined an international network of climate activists across the world. And through that, I found a friend in California in the United States, and we started Fridays for Future Digital together so that we could allow more voices to be part of the Fridays for Future movement who can't physically strike every single Friday. And that is what started the avenue for exploring the potential of digital organizing, and digital organizing has been something that has been a core tenet of my activism ever since. It's been something that I've been very passionate and skilled on through the pandemic and beyond, and it's led me to lead FFF Digital through the years, organizing digital campaigns, digital strikes, and digital actions of all kinds to support communities across the world and make their voices heard and bring about solidarity and action around international climate issues. And yeah.
Thank you so much for your introduction. So, my first question is, can you tell us more about your journey as a activist and how you got involved in the movement at such a young age?
Yeah, so my journey starts when I was in third grade. So that was when I was about 8 years old, and I first learned about climate change, and it was something that really shocked and scared me a lot. So I went to my local library and read a bunch of books, and I watched a lot of documentaries and videos about climate change, and just really got sucked into it. And this is a huge part of why I feel so strongly about the power of digital organizing and digital activism, because it's how I originally got involved. I originally got involved through all of this knowledge out there about ways to get involved, and all of these organizations utilizing digital tools to get people like me involved. And I want to be able to utilize that to get more people involved across the world. But yeah, I did a lot of Googling and spent a lot of time researching and looking up all these different organizations and initiatives, especially youth-led ones, and got involved as much as I could, and stayed engaged and informed. And that allowed me to go to local events and find out about certain meetings and things that I could do to help each of these movements that were going on. And that's how I gained more concrete roles in my local community for organizing, and then just kept on taking that to the next level. I see activism as a sort of cycle. You learn, you act, and then you bring other people in, and then you repeat. That's how the movement grows.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. So, what motivate you to start initiatives like Sunrise Movement, Howard Country Hub, and Fridays for Future Digital? How have these initiatives contributed to the world climate justice movement?
Yeah, so I was really motivated to start Sunrise because I was excited by the vision of the Sunrise movement, and it's um, very filled with this strong passion and this passion for our world, but also this joy and the potential of a new world with better climate solutions, and that's what united us all um, towards a new political vision for this country that would lead a better world for all. And it really took all of the anger that we had at these politicians and put it into a concrete movement. And that concrete movement was the Green New Deal vision, which is a very comprehensive vision for transforming our economy in all sectors to decarbonize in a way that is in line with the climate science, and what that the climate science is telling us, and also what communities across the world are telling us is best in order to ensure justice is a part of this process, and to make sure that the wrongs that have been done to communities because of climate injustice are corrected um, through this vision. And so I was really excited about making that happen, and I wanted to get more young people involved. And so that's why I started the Sunrise movement in Howard County, because I was really the only youth-led leader, the only young person who was very passionate and raising their voice about climate change, and I wanted to get more people involved. And if I wasn't going to do it, who was going to do it? And that was the mindset that I had in the early stages of my activism. Is I just saw that it was natural for me to be a leader, because I just felt the urgency so strongly, and that someone needed to step up, and if no one was going to do it, then I will do it. And that's how we got to where we are today. And in terms of the contributions, I have handed off the responsibilities of this local group to some of my dear friends who are incredible local activists, who have gone on to work with our local school board on Sunrise's most recent campaign, Green New Deal for Schools. And so it's basically taking that vision of the Green New Deal and applying it to schools, implementing measures across all sectors of the school system to make them carbon neutral, and to reduce all the emissions, and to make them more sustainable, as well as ensuring climate education for all throughout the school systems. And so the Sunrise Howard County has been working with the school system to implement a climate action plan, and has been going through this process of involving lots of community members and activists in this process of what this climate action plan is going to look like throughout the county. And so I really consider that a concrete success. And just a lot of really incredible youth climate leaders have come out of the progress of this movement as a whole. And you can see that with Fridays for Future Digital as well. I think that's exemplified more on the international level, because Fridays for Future Digital is an international initiative. We helped organize campaigns that really directly helped a lot of marginalized communities across the world, especially with the Escazú Treaty, which is this environmental treaty that was passed in 2020 and went into effect in Earth Day 2021, large part due to our campaign, where we mobilized tens of thousands of people across the world through an open letter digital campaign, as well as some tweet storms and comment storms, getting people to support this environmental treaty in Latin America and the Caribbean that needed just 2 more countries in ratification. And this environmental treaty is really important for protecting environmental defenders and protecting access to environmental information and promoting human rights and democracy. So it's really great to see that concrete success, and just the increased engagement and involvement of activists across the world who are organizing for climate justice in their communities through digital means.
All right, thank you so much for your answer. Could you explain your role as the Outreach Coordinator and at FFF Digital and your experience working with climate-based cohort 3 climate science as a youth messenger?
Yeah, so for the climate based fellowship is something I've been doing since May of this year, and it's been this great opportunity to be in this network of other climate based fellows who are professionals across many different fields who are all interested in finding their place in the professional world doing work to help climate action. And so people come from all different kinds of fields, and we have networking sessions, and we also have weekly curriculum sessions as well, where we're learning about different uh, very specific different climate topics like food and agriculture, transportation, circular economy, nature-based solutions, energy. So all these important topics to understand all the different places that we can help with the climate and using our skills. And another part of that is the capstone project. A lot of individuals have been working on different capstone projects that are related to their passions and skills. And yeah, I've been trying to do the same as well, combining the work I've been doing with FF Digital with this fellowship, and doing a lot of great networking and learning about people's different experiences as climate professionals, and just sharing resources and helping each other with our professional goals. Um, yeah, and in terms of climate science youth messenger, that's something I've been doing since October, and we have bi-monthly calls with the climate science staff, and the climate science is youth-led climate education organization based in the UK. They do a lot of great work with specifically the Climate Science Olympiad, where people across the world get to do climate action related challenges and in a competitive style, and have a chance to win a trip to COP28. And our main thing is the climate change courses that we have that are all science based on different subtopics. And so we're basically advisors and help shape climate science for the better.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. So now let's move on to next question. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So my next question is, how have you been able to mentor and empower hundreds of activities around the world? Can you share a specific example of a successful mentorship or leadership development experience you've
Yeah.
had?
Yeah, and so this is something that's just naturally happened through the network that I've built over the years. I started out a lot of it on Instagram, building my network through sharing my experience and lessons with activism, and people would reach out to me asking for some advice, and I would give them lots of advice and resources, and exchange these kinds of one-on-ones as well, for example. But I think a very specific example that I actually just talked to this person. There was I through sharing my activism on my Instagram and also on my LinkedIn too. This person who lives in my local community, was very interested in getting involved in this kind of stuff, but kind of had like strict parents and stuff, but really cared about these issues. So they saw FF Digital as an avenue to get involved in climate activism, and they actually did, through our one-on-one conversations and the support and advice that I gave them. And then they went on to participate in the Sunrise Movement Hub that I started, and started to get involved there, and also got involved in our local activist coalition, and have been making some incredible successes and progress there. And it's really great to see their leadership grow because they're younger than me, and now that I'm going off to college, they're going to be the next leaders who follow in my footsteps. And I think that's something that's really great to see. Yeah.
All right, that's great. So now let's move on to the next question. So, as a climate movement problem solver
Hmm.
and community builder, can you describe a challenging companion or project you work on and how you overcome the obstacles to achieve success?
Yeah, so in terms of climate movement problem solving, this is something that I've been working on a lot through my network. Something that I've been trying to do is combat the lack of connectivity that can sometimes exist within the climate movement, and I help build direct connections for certain activists and help them connect with certain people that will help their change whatever kind of campaign or initiative they're working on. I find the right people that can help them. And this is actually something that I've been trying to do with my organization, FF Digital, is the climate movement problem of the lack of accessibility, and through our digital means, we promote accessible climate activism that people can get involved in, and that's one way of solving one of the many problems in the climate movement. But also, something more specific with FF Digital is we've been trying to do this digital resource hub project to bring together all the knowledge and resources throughout the climate movement on digital organizing so that people can find that knowledge more easily, because um, the disorganization of knowledge and distribution of all these resources is very inequitable and also inaccessible. So we're trying to fix that. And just evaluating and trying to see how things can be better is just a constant mission of the activism I do.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. So, my
Mhm.
next question is, how do you promote intersectionality and accessibility within the global climate justice movement? Can you provide examples of initiatives or strategies you have implemented to achieve these goals?
Yeah, so I'd say that whenever I enter a space, I always make sure I always add the global and intersectional perspectives when it comes to issues that we're advocating for as climate activists. And it's something that I'm always working on in terms of education and promotion. Something that I did a lot more on my Instagram when I was more active on it was that I would regularly spotlight um, climate activists who are from the most affected people in areas. That's what MAPA stands for. This is a huge part of me being part of the Global Fridays for Future movement. Is this whole idea of global climate justice and what that looks like, and you know, not just looking at what climate looks like in your region, in your country, but what it looks like across the world. And that's the area that I am most passionate about and focus on. But in terms of spotlighting these climate activists, I have a whole series of highlights, and I did a few highlights. And I also have Instagram guides with a bunch of different activists that people can support and follow who are doing the frontline work in the global south and other frontline communities. And also, this intersectional global approach is really seen throughout the campaigns that FF Digital has worked on, and I have played a huge role in leading those teams and coordinating the people who have made those campaigns possible. As I mentioned with the Escazuya campaign, that's a campaign focused on Latin America and the Caribbean, and we did a campaign called Defend the Defenders that was all about promoting Indigenous people's rights and environmental defenders. as well. And so, yeah, I just want wherever my current path in the climate world to take me is to be very focused on making sure we're intersectional and and global.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much for your answer. Thank you so much for amazing answer. So my next question is, as an incoming gap year student at Wellesley College studying international relations, political science, how do you plan to continue your climate activism in Greater Boston? Do you have any specific projects or competence in mind?
Yeah, I mean, currently I've made a lot of connections with the local activists in the area, both in Wellesley College, but also in the greater Boston area as well. And I hope that staying connected and being involved and informed will help me figure out what kind of role I want to have in the climate space in Wellesley and in Boston, but also my academic studies in international relations will also help and for my activism and where I would like that to go, as I do want to see my career very climate oriented and very global climate oriented as much as possible. And so I really want to use the skills that I have with networking, connections, intersectionality, all of that. And I want to use that to see how I can help current climate efforts in Wellesley and in the greater Boston area. There's a lot of really great climate activists who I'm already really well connected with and really good friends with in the Boston area. And so I hope that we can all work together, um, to make climate action and climate justice possible in Boston and across the world. There's a lot of really great student groups on campus. There's students for there's students for intersectional environmental justice on Wellesley College's campus, and I want to be as involved as I can. College's campus.
All right, thank you so much. So, finally, what are your long term goals and aspirations as a climate activist and global organizer? How do you mention your impact on the fight against climate change and the pursuits of climate justice?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of bigger goals, I hope that my college academic life will really help guide that. And I really want there's a lot of specific fields that I really want to explore. Like I really want to be able to explore more on the urban planning side of things, and and I want to really explore more local environmental justice approaches and solutions and then be involved in those kinds of initiatives, um, and also work for really cool organizations who do really great intersectional work, and continue my international and global work and hope that I will have more opportunities to expand that beyond the US.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Iris Zhan, for sharing your inspiring journey and insights with us today. Your
Yes, thank you so
dedication
much
to
for
the
having
global
me.
climate justice. Thank you, thank you. Your
Thank you.
dedication to the global climate justice movement and your efforts in empowering and mentoring activities around the world are truly inspiring. We appreciate your time and the work you dedicate. We wish you continued success in your studies and Wellesley College in your future endeavors as a climate activist, musician, and global organizer. May your work bring about positive change and create a more inclusive and sustainable world. Thank you so much to our audience for joining us today. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversation and stories. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Bye. Have a wonderful day ahead.